Bleach Bros Podcast is proud to align itself with Jerky Pro, a beef jerky manufacturer established by military and paramilitary veterans.
Available in 3-ounce or 1-pound bags with great flavors such as honey glazed, teriyaki, red hot, apple cinnamon, original, peppered, sweet barbecue, and if you're ballsy enough, nuclear.
Be sure to use our promo code to get some of the best jerky on the market. Use Bleach Bros 5, all lowercase, to take advantage of this offer today.
Hey, this is Travis Demers, the radio voice of the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't know why, but you're listening to the Bleach Brothers podcast. You're never going to get this time back.
Welcome into the Bleach Brothers podcast. This is B-Word, and as usual, I'm here with Jake. But Jake, you don't really come with your great voice this week.
I sound like if Barry White humped a wildebeest in the outback of Australia, but left it for dead, but it woke up like a puppet. You know, like somebody put its hand through it and just let it talk through it. Does that describe it well?
I mean, honestly, normally when we record, and usually every time I see you, you have contacts in, and tonight you're wearing some glasses. So I kind of feel like I'm talking with a Muppet. Like I feel like there might be a hand in your ass.
I just got new glasses though, dude. I'm very happy with them. I have terrible eyesight, so I don't know if you know this. I can't see the big E on the top of the when they give you the test. The problem is they've never changed the letter. So when I go in and they're like, hey, what can you read the letter? And I'm like, yeah, it's an E at the top. And they're like, oh, well, good. And it's like, well, no, you've never changed it. So you need to figure that out. Like, put something else up there to fool me because it's that bad, dude.
What letter would you put up there? Like, what letter would you switch?
I don't know. Like an R. Like R or P. Something that looks similar to multiple letters. And I know the E does, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's so generic that we've seen it forever that everybody knows it's there. You can't put A, right? Because A is like the start of the alphabet. You can't put Z. That's the end of the alphabet. So you got to find something that looks like, because I mean, if you look at the alphabet, B-word, what other letters look like other letters?
Shape-wise, you're talking about like E would match with H, right? Because they both have the two, or the square body, if you will, or an F is just missing the bottom leg, if you will, of the E, so you can kind of do that. A G and an O kind of look similar, you know,
and a Q, G O and Q,
yeah.
But like P R F can be put in that,
sure.
B can be put in that.
You can actually match a B with an E if you really wanted to. I mean, it's. You know, it just depends on.
I don't know. I'm going with R or P, dude. I'm going with R or P.
Well, I want to talk with you. I want to talk with you a little bit of Bad Vision. I know you just asked me a question there, but I'm going to ignore that you asked me a question. I'm going to talk about Bad Vision. I had a great Saturday with some friends. We ended up going to dinner. We had sushi. It was a good time, and sushi is always a good thing, dude. You know. And so we're sitting at sushi, and the movie that I've wanted to watch for a while is Black Phone. Now, I've wanted to watch it for numerous reasons. Number one, I love horror films, and I really want to be like actually scared once in a while, and I just don't ever get there. And Black Phone, it comes with amazing reviews. Chris Stuckman, who you and I both follow, gave it an outstanding review. And so it's really been on my watch list.
Get Stuckmanized.
Yes. Well, the friends that I went to the movie with, they had already saw Black Phone, and they're like, hey, you need to see Black Phone. And while we're at dinner, I said, yeah, I'll probably go see it tomorrow or something. They're like, well, do you want to see it right now? And I was like, yeah, I mean, why not? The problem was it started like 20 minutes from when they asked that, and we were quite a ways across town, so there was no way we were going to make the theater, right? So they're like, well, we know you like to go to the movies. What other movie would you like to see? And I was like, I don't know. This Elvis movie kind of looks kind of fascinating. I don't know much about it. I've only seen a preview, but I like Elvis. So, I mean, that's cool. And my buddy's wife is like, oh yeah, we have to go watch Elvis. Like, we'll watch Elvis with you right now. I was like, okay, fine. The problem was, dude, is the movie didn't start for an hour and a half from where we were at, right? So we're already waiting this hour and a half to get there. So we go and we get a beverage and we head to the movie theater and we get into the movie theater and we're there like as they're cleaning the movie theater. We're the first ones in the theater. We get through all of the 30 minutes worth of ads and commercials and promos and all that sort of stuff, right? And I'm an hour and a half into this movie and I'm looking at my watch. The guy who plays Elvis is amazing. I'm not going to like, there's nothing I can take away from this actor. He was phenomenal as Elvis, as multiple generations of Elvis or multiple decades of Elvis. He was great. He should definitely win awards for his acting chops. Tom Hanks was a puto, and I'm going to say it just like that. He was a goddamn puto.
A bachobi.
Like, I did not like his character, which I understand. It's a biopic. It's a real life character who was probably unlikable in real life. I didn't like the way that he looked. I thought he looked like Danny DeVito in Batman Returns. I didn't like his accent. Like, I liked nothing about this character. But more than that, dude, I hate movies like Moulin Rouge. I don't like movies like Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio, where there's shit going on all the time. There's music everywhere. Like, I was going specifically to watch an Elvis biopic, thinking of in the same shoes as like a Walk the Line, Johnny Cash style, right? Or Ray Charles style. Like, this is what I was thinking. Or even Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, I was even cool with that. And we got a Moulin Rouge style Elvis film that combined Elvis music with rap music that didn't make any sense. And
it's like driving 80s car or 90s cars in an 80s movie, right? Like, nothing fits. Yeah.
Bro, this movie was 3 hours. Well, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes. You know how I know that? Because in an hour and a half, as I looked at my watch, I looked it up. And by the time we were out of the theater, it was over 3 hours.
Did you have to pee anytime during the movie?
No, because I had peed right before.
I was gonna say B-word, because do you feel like if you have to pee during a movie and you go pee, that's like an indicator that's not a good movie? Like at the theater?
Yeah, if I would have had to pee, I would have peed.
You would have got up and you wouldn't have cared?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have cared. Not at all. But I had literally just peed before the movie, so I was good. And I wasn't drinking anything, so I was still good. But yeah, I didn't like the movie, dude. It was terrible. I almost asked, like, at the beginning, is this a musical? Because I felt like that's the direction they were going, and it wasn't. Thank God. But
see, I've seen the previews.
I don't recommend seeing it.
See, and I want to, but I also don't. I've already told you that. Like when you told me you went and watched something, I'm going to wait for it because I love the director, and I don't mind musicals. But to me, it just looks off. It doesn't look normal. Like,
it was a Moulin Rouge style film.
Yeah, I don't care if you take fantasy and change it, right? But if you take real life and change it, I guess I have a harder time with that. It'd be like if you made a movie about World War II, right? And you made it like a weird...
And you use Vietnam music?
Yeah.
With rap?
Yeah. And you... That fucking song I hate. Right.
Exactly.
What did I do?
It was terrible. It was a big waste of time. I didn't enjoy it. So I don't recommend seeing it. If any of you followers of the Salty Hippo Nation go and see it and you don't like it, let me know. Roast me in the comments. I don't care. But I didn't like it. That wasn't my cup of tea at all.
I mean, that's a tough genre, right? Because you got to, like, if you're doing a biopic, do you think people are looking for actuality rather than avant-gardeness? Like, that's that director, right? His whole shtick is to make over the top, crazy. Let me take this lifestyle and make it just nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I think that there has to be some sort of factuality in the storyline, which I'm not saying that there wasn't in this, but I felt like the focus was more on the soundtrack than it was on the storyline, and I felt like the Elvis character was portrayed perfectly. I'll stand by that completely. But I felt like Tom Hanks' character was very much over the top, and I felt like all of the storylines had this underlying, like, gotcha story that just kept switching back and forth between music and like, literally, dude, there were Elvis songs that, like, were, as their Elvis, they're transitioning him into rap. Like I appreciate rap, dude. I love rap music. I love Elvis music. I didn't understand it. And like you're taking a biopic of a man who created this music and you're transforming the music into rap. Like that bothered me. It did it multiple times throughout the movie. I don't care if you like take it and you turn it into rock or you transition into another genre or something like that, but you're literally taking the songs and you're changing the artist middle of the song and you're changing the genre, dude. I was so confused. This was a perfect demonstration of art because it's very subjective. Like your interpretation of it, my interpretation of it, I didn't like it, but my interpretation of it was very much grandiose and it was very much over the top. And somebody else can look at it and go, "Oh, that was a great movie." And, "Oh, I like how they transitioned into rap and I like this and I like that." Dude, it was terrible.
But I do have a question because you just said I didn't like that they took the music and turned it into rap, but if they turned it into rock, I would have been okay. So you would have been okay if they took his songs and put it in any other genre, or do you what do you mean by that? Let me
explain, because if you would have taken an Elvis song and put a rock beat to it and it's still Elvis's lyrics, I'd have been fine with that.
So it's still Elvis singing. So even if you would have taken Elvis singing and put a rap beat behind it, you'd be okay with that too, right?
As long as it made sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as it went with the storyline, like you're changing decades or the style of music is changing, or, because Elvis he was alive for 42 years. You think about the stages of music within that time frame. I mean, he was very influential. They did hit on a lot of the influences that he got from Black culture or African American culture, or whatever is most PC way to say that. Which I liked. I wish they probably would have delved into that a little bit more. I just felt like the storyline was so focused on this grandiose thing that it just didn't quench my appetite for the biopic, if that makes sense. Like it didn't fulfill
the thirst for an Elvis biopic. It was something totally entirety on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like Notorious, but then you get All Eyes on Me. Like All Eyes on Me sucked.
All right. How many Tupac biopics do we fucking need on this planet?
I don't think we need any more.
No, I think all of them have been bad, so we don't need any of them, because I love Tupac and I would love a good one made, but I feel like they'll never do it. All they do is that's a ploy to release new albums. I was surprised. I'm going to tell you this: when I heard an Elvis movie was coming out, I was literally thinking they were going to find old B-sides from the grave and release an album. And when I found out there was rap, and the happy side of me was like, oh, thank God they didn't find music from like 80 years ago or whatever, right? But also I'm going, oh, they're taking new age music and putting it to it. Like, how does that work? It's an happy moment, right? Like, no matter what, you're unhappy, but you're also happy that something didn't happen. Yeah,
I was unhappy. So bad movie experience for sure, but it did get me thinking about some biopics. Okay. So my thought is that if you were to make a movie about your life, so this is the movie of Jake the Hater, whatever we want to call it, right? What would be some storylines that you would want to touch or have talked about within the movie or have acted out?
So I don't think I'm interesting enough to have just like a set point. I think there's some people on the planet, right, that have like a good 15-year chunk. Like, and what I mean by that, like if I had a biopic, it would be like Forrest Gump, where it'd start from birth and go all the way through my life, because I think that would make out for like the 2 hours it needs to be or whatever. But there are certain people in life where they make a movie and it could be about like something they've done, right? Like they're in a great band. Like let's say Bleach Bros blows up forever, right? We become this huge thing. They can make a biopic then about me and you with this, right? And there could be some backstory, right, like when we met in second grade, and it would just be the Bleach Bros story. And that's fine. But I haven't had those moments in my life yet where I've hit that peak of like, oh, from 30 to 40 was the most interesting part of my life, right? Like for a feature film. So I guess if they did it, it would have to arc my whole livelihood. Okay. What about you?
So for me, we've talked about it before. My intention is to write a book, and I'm really struggling with, should it be an autobiography or a memoir, if you will, or should it be a fictional storyline for those to read that can kind of get the gist of me having to figure out being a teen parent, right? So
Right.
that's definitely a storyline in and of itself. Like you can go from my daughter's conception to maybe my death or something like that. You can cover that time, or you can even cover from the fact that she graduates high school. Like there's a milestone moment that you can pick, right? So I think that that's something that I can choose. Some of the movies that I love, like Forrest Gump isn't a biopic, but Forrest Gump is a good example. Should Forrest Gump have been a real person, I think that would also be a good way to try to demonstrate somebody's life, or try to follow their storyline and kind of see how they went from point A to point B. I think there's a lot of spots within my life that you can do that, whether it be from the parenthood or whether it be just stories with boys or just different things that, different stories that we've talked about. Like, could you imagine like an American Pie style, like road trip style Bleach Bros origin story? Like,
I mean, I could, because the way Bleach Bros was, I had to explain it to somebody the other day when they asked what it meant. But yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I could see something like that, but I can also see a very dramatic storytelling of my life in certain ways.
So you're like the single white male Precious?
I've never seen Precious.
I've never seen it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just putting two and two together here. Like,
I don't even know what Precious is. Like, I remember seeing the movie poster, but I don't even know what the premise is.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I know more about it because of The Office, because Michael Scott apparently listened to the autobiography book, like audio tape in his car, but and the preview. That's about it. But I was just putting two and two together. Like, I could see a biopic being about like you being a single dad. Like, and I'm not saying that's your whole life, but like you're saying, you're trying to write a book, right, B-Word? And that's a big thing that we've talked about. So I could see you having a pick, whether it be fictionalized or real life or anything, that's a very big part of you, where I could see a film made on that. And I don't think you can do the same for me when I was a single dad. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the same film.
I think that you can almost do like and not to create a pun here, because you live in Washington, but you can almost do somewhat of a Sleepless in Seattle style, meeting of your wife story. It can be a romantic comedy. It can be a chick flick. So I would say that there's points of your life where you can absolutely snapshot it and make a film out of it. I think that one of the movies I really enjoyed on Netflix over the last year, I think it was the last year, was A Marriage Story, I think is what
That's
it's called.
Great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, with Adam Driver and Adam Driver. Great film. And you and I've gone through relationship turmoils, and I think that while I wouldn't say that everything's a happy ending, I think that there's a lot to learn from on the trials and tribulations we've gone through. And if you're talking about a relationship scenario, that's a focal point that sells tickets. Look at The Notebook.
Speaking of happy ending, though, let's just do this. So let's say somebody's making a biopic, no matter what the story is. And I mean, it can include that part, but who's directing your film? Because I know for my picks of my own, it's the sense of I love a downtrodden story, like a shit. My favorite films always have a bad ending because that's real life, right?
Right.
Like, so who are you picking to direct your life story?
Honestly, I want somebody who is proficient in comedy, but can also deal with drama and even some angst or some emotional topics. Probably an underrated director, and I say underrated because he's primarily known for comedies. That I would want to do it is Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips did the Hangover trilogy. He also did the Joker. And he's going to do the new Joker musical.
Yeah, the musical, which is
yeah. And I swear to God, if I die one day, or when I die one day, and somebody makes a fucking musical about my life, I swear to God, it better have midgets in it, or I'm boycotting the whole fucking thing.
Oh, I'm still making a fucking biopic with just midgets, and it's just gonna be a midget playing you. That's gonna be the best part, and it's gonna be called My Half-Life.
It's going to be Gnome, isn't it? Gnome's going to be the main character. So
that's a good pick. I like that pick as a director. See, I have a hard time with that B-word. First one I would pick is probably one of my favorite new directors, Ari Aster.
Okay.
And it's just because I want, like, I love that director. I want something weird and creepy that makes no sense and makes everybody feel like bad in all the right places. But I realize
Right.
that's not my life, right? So that doesn't work. Then it's like, all right, my other favorite director is Darren Aronofsky. Does
Okay.
Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan. And because that would end on a down note, like life does, right? Like whether I kill, like,
Right.
I'm not saying I will, but like, let's say, I kill myself or I die or anything happens, right? Like that's the perfect director for the end of my life, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the douchebag in me, the Jake the Hater in me says, I'm picking fucking Michael Bay, bro. Just because I want
Oh
explosions.
God, dude.
I want the most over the top story that's told. Like Jake went out for a drink, boom, boom, boom. Here he is, and I'm walking in a room. Every time I walk in a room, it's a fucking event, dude. That's what I want my life story to be told as. I don't want it some normal crap. I want it over the top, explosions, driving down like the first time I went to visit San Francisco, half of it blows up. That's what I want my biopic to be, dude. Just some Michael Bay douchey shit.
And then The Rock is going to be he's going to star as Jake because why not? If it's Michael Bay, it's The Rock.
I mean, at
it's
that
just gonna
point, dude,
sell.
yeah, I look just like him, dude. I'm all for that, dude.
See,
Oh my God.
oh man, yeah. And see, I thought when we were talking about going down this path, I thought about Scorsese, and I think that Scorsese's an excellent actor, and or not actor,
You mean
director,
director, yeah.
yeah, and he gets the story from point A to point B very well, and he makes sure that all the actors perform. But I just kind of feel like that would be more serious than I would want. Like, I kind of feel like that there's different movies that could be made, like the genre of movies that could be made in my life. Like, there's the movie Wonder with
Is that Owen Wilson with
Owen
the
Wilson.
kid that's messed up wearing the astronaut
Yeah,
suit to school,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
like it's got enough comedy in it, like feel good comedy. It's got a heartfelt story. It's got angst and anguish. Like, it's a good put together story, happy ending style, right? So like that can be if there's something to do with parenting or growing up or something like that, that can be a good one. I think that the Todd Phillips can probably do more of an overall story that combines comedy, combines maybe some raunchy elements, but also can bring it down to that emotional point. So that's why I settled on him. But I also thought about like James Cameron. But I felt like James Cameron would just make it not
That's too much for
as
you, dude. Your life's not
yeah.
Titanic, bro. Like you are
I
not a
know.
Titanic.
I know that's where I was at. Like I'm not even T1000 level. Like this is where I don't even think that I would get James Cameron's attention ever. Like the only reason why Vincent Chase and Entourage did it is because like they bribed James Cameron, and it was the only reason why he was on. So
See, this question reminds me of the ultimate question I ask people, and I've told you this, but like I haven't shared this with the show. Like when I ask people the question of what kind of bird are they, and they tell me the
yeah,
answer, that's how I judge people, to be honest. Like because everybody wants to be an eagle or a falcon, right? Like, oh, I'm
right,
a falcon. I'm an eagle. I'm a profile bird. Like I kill everything, and half the time you're a fucking flamingo, dude. You're a flamingo in the
right,
flock. You're
right.
pink as fuck. You eat shrimp all day. Like people that like we asked this question on Twitter, I'll be honest, and you see people and they all pick like the best directors, right? Like Scorsese,
Yeah,
James Cameron and stuff. And I'm not saying I didn't pick a good director either, but it is funny how we equate ourselves to a higher level than we probably are. Hence why biopics are not being made about us, right?
right.
But it is interesting and funny to hear, like you're saying, like James Cameron would be perfect. Yeah, James Cameron would be perfect because he's going to do an amazing job. It'd be like, you pick Spielberg. Spielberg is a
Yeah,
great director. He's going to do something well with it. He's going to write it well. But I mean, in reality, we probably all need like a basic ass like
yeah,
guy who's coming up, and maybe it's one of his first films that it does a terrible job, and then he does films later on in life, right?
right. Like honestly, I could see like an Adam Driver being a good director because he's up and coming. Granted, he's known as an actor, or even a Bryce Dallas Howard. You look at some of the things that she's able to do. I think that would be interesting. So yeah, directors are interesting, man. I mean, it kind of the soundtrack plays a whole lot into that. You think of some some bigger movies. Soundtracks really good. We actually ranked soundtracks in a previous episode. Kind of felt like Forrest Gump. You criticized me a lot for that one, but I can see I could see the story of my life having different movies from different decades, or I'm sorry, different songs from different decades. And so. But what are some songs that, if you were making a biopic about yourself, what are some songs that would have to be included in your biopic?
I'm gonna say this first. I'm gonna cheat. So I hope when the director does some back research on me before they make this biopic, they listen to our show, right? And they pick songs from the Everlasting Jukebox every episode that we have done and been like, yep, that's a perfect song. That's a perfect song. I don't know. I guess I'm going to cheat. I'm like you, the Forrest Gump thing. It's going to go through multiple genres and multiple timelines, depending on where I'm at. But I honestly think the block of history that's going to be the best and most important stuff is going to be the late 90s through the early 2000 to 2010, essentially. Like, not that my life's not interesting now, but that's also my favorite style of music, you know? So a lot of post-hardcore, some rap, stuff like that. So everything coming out of there, I think, is the best. I mean, I love country music, but my lifestyle is not for country music. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out there riding a horse right now. And, you know, like, I met my wife in a country bar, so I guess you could play one there, but there's probably a lot better rock songs or acoustic songs that's going to demonstrate my lifestyle with my wife better than fucking Brooks and Dunn or anything like that. So, I guess I would just put that block of time in there. I can't really name it. Like, I would love artists to make a song about me. Like, of course, like, the dream would be like if Eminem, and he did one for Elvis, makes a song about my lifestyle, but then I don't really relate to him. So I guess I'm going to go with bands like Dashboard Confessional or Brand New, or them like having a song that like revolves, like even MXPX makes a sense about my life. So that's who I'm going with. But yeah, the director did their homework and they listened to a lot of Everlasting Jukebox and picked a bunch of songs from there. What about you?
Well, I'm good with that. On the Everlasting Jukebox, I've done a lot of, rap and different things like that I would listen to casually. But just like what you said, I don't really like, my lifestyle doesn't reflect what I listen to in the songs. Like Tupac is not going to narrate my life musically. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up with the same experiences and that sort of stuff. I think the 3 songs that I would probably want to have included at any point are also within that time genre that you're talking about. But I got Bloodhound Gang, The Bad Touch, because I feel like that was a song that when we were in high school was like a big deal.
That's
for
how you became a single dad.
Yeah, but I also think that's like the song that would get me to that point. I think that Last Resort by Papa Roach would also be a good one, just because, again, that kind of defines that time genre a little bit. And I've got Eminem Without Me, because I can sit here and listen to Eminem, and there's points in songs of Eminem that I can actually relate to. And so, not to say that Without Me is probably the most ideal song, but it's just the most catchy song that I can think of. But like you, I think it would be pretty cool if there was some original music on our biopics. I'd like to see something like, and candidly, I would love to see Creed come back together.
Yeah, I'm picking Nickelback.
Do an original song.
Yeah, Nickelback is the whole soundtrack. I don't even care. They're going to do every type of genre of music for me too. They're going to do a country song. They're going to do a rap song. It's just all Nickelback all fucking day, just so people hate it. For the hater, right? That would make sense.
No, that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. I think you could probably go with Milli Vanilli too, just because it's good music. It's catchy. But it's fraudulent, and it's just not this great thing. Not saying that you're fraudulent, like, I'm not trying to say that, but like, it would just be this hateful, like, you're pranking the viewers of this movie.
Would you want, if you were alive, would you want an original song by you on the soundtrack?
No.
Well, like, you did Beware raps, like, Big Nick and the Big Tits and stuff.
Yeah, Big Nick and Big Nick with the Big Tits was a good one. I'm actually pretty proud of that one, but. No, dude, I don't want any part of that. No,
I could see it. I could see B-Word dropping a song for his own movie, and like that's where I turn it into a musical. Just you walking next to a pond, throwing your arms up in the air like Creed, and not even say it's like I would make it like I'm gonna direct your. You know what, B-Word? I'm gonna direct your biopic, and I'm gonna have like such fucked up scenes.
Did you just call it a biopic?
Biopic, yeah. It's a biopic.
It's a biopic.
Biopic. It's
I
like
mean,
it's like when that stupid woman couldn't say symbiote for the Venom trailer. It's a symbiote. It's a biopic.
A biopic. Okay.
All right.
You threw
So
me
who's
off with that
playing
one,
you?
dude?
Who's playing you, B-word?
This one's hard, man. This one's really hard. I think, wave a magic wand, perfect timing, perfect like age range. I'd want somebody like John Candy or Chris Farley to kind of play the role, especially for like my younger days where I was, getting into trouble and getting in and out of panties. I think that would be really fun. But in the serious roles, I kind of want like somebody like Philip Seymour Hoffman, again, assuming that he was alive,
Right.
to play that. I tried to look up somebody that's still alive, kind of within my age range, and to be honest with you, I really couldn't find somebody that I think would do it well. From a looks perspective, maybe a Kevin James, somebody like that. But that's a hard one, dude. Like, who do you think would play me?
For you, younger, if he was still fat, Jonah Hill. Through your high school days, I think that's a perfect pick.
That's a good one, actually. Didn't even think of Jonah Hill.
That is me and you. Like, and I know a lot of, I know, this is an asshole move, but I know a lot of people like in high school, I was Michael Cera and my best friend. That was me and you in high school though, dude.
Yeah.
Like that, I was the nerd that didn't know how my dick worked, even though I should have, because everybody wanted it. And like, I just was like standing around like, and you're telling me to go look at her warlocks and I don't know what I'm doing. And you get period blood on you and you're freaking out. But Jonah Hill, when he was fat, younger you, older you, if he was still a little overweight, and I'm not saying anything, but we're going for looks, right? Is Paul Giamatti. I think he has the acting chops for sure, but
Paul Giamatti with a little more hair.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's easy to do, right? You just give him hair. Okay. But I think he would pull it off for you because you have that that serious tone to where, like, all right, B Words of Wisdom is a perfect example. I think Paul Giamatti would do a good job for you. And those are the two I would pick. Like if you had to do a story arc for you. I mean, so when you watch a biopic, B word,
a biopic,
do you like it when it's one actor playing the whole life cycle and they do like prosthetics and stuff, or do you like it when they mix it up?
I like it. Well, I don't know. Now it seems like we have the technology to de-age and
anti-age and
and do all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if it's done right, I'm fine with one actor. If you're not working with that technology, and let's say you're shooting it over, a decade time period, I'd probably want multiple actors. But it just depends on how it looks.
So let me ask you, who's playing me, and then I'll tell you who I think would play me.
Matthew Lillard.
Oh, that's a good call. It's the look. I'm feeling woozy over here, man.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, I think, could take every style of your life or every point of your life, and he can act it out. Like, he is such a talented actor that I think he can do college Jake. I think he can do awkward high school Jake. I think he can do single Jake. I think he can do married Jake. He would bring the heart to dad Jake. I think that he would be a really good actor for you.
I mean, I am him in SLC Punk. Right? I am him sort of in Scream besides murdering people. No, that's a pick for me is Matthew Lillard. It's not just because, I got that a lot, that I looked like him and everything, but now I'm getting Michael Keaton because I'm going bald, but whatever.
Michael Keaton does not have your height, though.
No, but I'll say this. Matthew Lillard is my top pick for myself. The other one is Kirk Herbstreit, if he was a good actor.
Okay.
Because I used to resemble Kirk Herbstreit quite a bit from ESPN, but I don't think the acting chops are there. That's totally doppelganger like ability, right?
Okay.
The other one I would love though, if the movie was just about high school and college me, it's Sean William Scott, who played Stifler. American Pie.
I could see that.
And it's not that I wasn't a D-bag, but like I think I accentuate myself to come across that way to make the hater more hateable. Like if that's a good way to put it, B-word, like I think like if they made a movie about me, you got to make it interesting, right?
Yeah.
And who's going to make it more interesting?
I could see that, or I can see and this is really bad. This is a very, very bad pick, but I could even see like a Freddie Prinze Jr., to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Like I know that from a looks perspective, it's a little bit off, but I could see like, especially if it's a late 90s, early 2000s setting, teen comedy, something like that, like lead character, I could see that. But
Is he bleaching both
I
ends, like both
yes.
sides?
Yes,
Okay.
he's Freddy on top, or Fred from Scooby on top, and
Prince Jr. downstairs,
and he's JFM on the bottom. So but I still stand by Matthew Lillard. I think Matthew Lillard's probably the best one for you, to be honest with you. So in this biopic, the wrong way of saying it,
biopic, yeah,
biopic. We already kind of talked about this a little bit, but preferably, if you're making a movie about yourself, whether you're alive or dead, what's your preferred genre that this is? Like, we talked about some storylines that this might include, but what sort of genre of film do you want this to be?
The easy out is saying drama, right? Because life is drama. I can't be a thriller. I haven't killed anybody. I'm not a terrible person. I can't be a horror film. I'm not a terrible person. I haven't killed anybody. I want a musical though. I do. I want my life to be over the top, like just bullshit. Like there's a scene where I'm sitting there with the day I pick up my wife and I'm just singing an Eminem song to her, right? That's the best way to get a great soundtrack in there and just make fun of myself. Like, cause I can't do a sci-fi film, B-word, my favorite genre, right? Like my life, I'm not an alien. I can't do a monster movie because I'm not a monster. I can't I guess the only other one would be animation for me. All right. Let me ask you this before you answer this. If you had to do an animation film about yourself, what creature are you? Like, what are they drawing you as? Like, what animal are you playing? If it was,
I would love to be. What shit? I don't remember what the character's name is, but John Goodman off of Monsters Inc.
Oh, Sully.
Sully would totally want to be Sully.
Just a big blue hairy monster.
Yeah, just a big blue bear. Rare.
Okay, I can see. I see a big bear for you. I don't know. I guess I'm like an antelope. Like I'm not. Like, well, I don't know, beer. I'm trying to go for something tall. Well, I'm trying to go for something tall, goofy, not quite, or maybe like a stork. I don't know. Like, what animal would you put me as?
I see you as the dude or the little squirrel or whatever it is that's always going after the nut in Ice Age.
Oh yeah, Scrat. That's a good one. Like, did you ever watch Over the Hedge? That one with Bruce Willis, where he's a raccoon.
I fell asleep in it.
Okay, so you remember the squirrel when they give him a Red Bull?
No,
that's me. I'm the squirrel with the Red Bull. But I mean, I'm looking for like the look too, though, dude. Like, what kind of animal do I look like? I'm sort of like oddly shaped. Like, I'm not normal.
Well,
so
in the last episode, we were talking about you being a muskrat. I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before that. You being a muskrat. The problem is, dude, is that you can't get. I mean, nobody looks like an animation thing, right? Unless they're like animating like. I mean, look at Woody and Buzz, right? They don't. I mean, yes, they have facial expressions similar to
things
Tim
that
Allen
appear like them, but they're not. Yeah.
Right, but they don't look like that. So I can't sit here and say, well, you have to have the body type of whatever you're looking at, or you have to have some similarities with that type of animal. Like, I don't really see that. Like, this is why I don't like cartoons. So fuck off with your question.
I get. Well, see, you're Sal the Salty Hippo. And I'm his shitty sidekick, Jake the Antelope, like just running next to you, pissing everybody off, jumping all over the place. Or Jake the Caribou sounds better. I'm the Caribou. I'm a big old fucking. Well, I'm not a ranger.
You know who you are.
Difference.
You know who you are. You're Ross's character in fucking what's it called? Madagascar.
Yeah, Madagascar, the fucking giant giraffe with like anxiety issues on pills.
That's you. Yep, that's you.
Sounds terrible, dude. Nothing about that sounds good.
Your fucking movie, not mine. Goddamn fucking.
That isn't a bad movie though. No, I'm the lemur that wants to be king, dude. I like to move it. I like to move it.
I want to change my answer. I want to be King Louie off of the Jungle Book.
Oh, see, that's good. So that would make me Baloo then.
Dude, and then we can do a musical, dude. I'd be like, well, I'm the king of the swingers or the jungle VIP. Fucking
and
just
I'm over there singing about
out,
the bare
dude.
necessities, like scratching my nuts, eating ants, dude.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, this makes, dude. We are the jungle. We're the Jungle Book in real life. I'm here to rescue some little jungle boy from you.
right?
Because you're the creepy uncle.
Look, dude, I'm just looking for fire. I'm just looking for fire, my dude.
All right, let's get back in. So what genre movie are you having for yourself? I'm a musical, apparently, but
I struggle with this one because there's a movie called I Am Sam with Sean Penn. It's very much a dramatic movie. He's got, I don't remember what type of mental disability he has.
Down syndrome.
Is it Down syndrome? But he's trying to be a parent, and I felt like that's a really good, heartwarming story about fatherhood in a roundabout way. But there's so much that I want to do in my life that's comedic, right? Like we've got comedic stories. Let's say that, something happens with Bleach Bros and you kind of need to do a private parts story of how we came together and how we fell apart and how we came back together type thing. Like, I think that would work too. But I think that I would want to do kind of a dramedy. And I realize that's cliche, right? But there's points of my life that are emotional, that are valuable, that are, require feeling, or at least the audience feeling a certain way. But there's also points in my life that require dramatic comedy. And I don't mean dramatic comedy in the form of drama, but like you have this balance of emotional swings from sadness to happiness to laughter to tears, right? I would like a movie that kind of hits on all of those. So I would say a dramedy, to kind of keep with that. And I think that, again, with the director choice that I have with Todd Phillips, I think he can do that.
Do you think you have, so like, let's say like you mentioned Private Parts, right? Which I love that fucking movie with Howard Stern. If you got approached and let's say like 5 years, by Bleach Bros takes, or something happens in your life, like you make this book and people fucking love it and they fall head over heels for you and they want a film about you. Do you want to star as yourself in the film?
No.
Like, do you think you could pull it off like Howard Stern did?
Yeah, I think I could do it. But I say that never having acted in a film. I realize at that point Howard Stern had never acted in a film either. So I think I would have a greater ownership of how that line of dialogue made me feel, or how that circumstance, how I dealt with it. So I think I can do that. But I don't know that I would want to act in it. No, because I would fear that people would judge me, on my acting skills and not my story.
Would you rather them? All right, let me ask you this though. So they make the biopic about you, right? And you star in it, and people are more judgmental about you, about your life, or about your acting skills. What do you want more so of?
I would much rather them judge me against my life.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because it's authentic.
You can't
because
change
I
your
am
life,
who I am.
You change your okay.
But I am who I am, and I'm confident in who I am. So I wouldn't care what people thought about me, within reason, I guess. But I think because I'm not an actor and I become an actor, that would bother me a little bit. Like if the focus was not on the storyline and the focus was on my acting, that would, especially if there was a message I was trying to communicate, like. They don't accept the message because I didn't act it correctly. I think that would bother me.
That's a good point. I guess though, I would rather them judge me on acting than my life. Like, because I mean, like as the adverse to you, I am who I am. I can't change it. Right. But I don't want people to fucking hate me because of how I grew up or who I am. Right. You can hate me for my acting skills all day and go, man, he just sucks at that, because I can fix that. I can change that. I can't fix or change my life. Right. So I guess we're on the opposite end of the spectrum of that, for the same reasons though, just the difference of opinion, right?
Right.
But we've talked about biopics or however the fuck you want to pronounce it. If you had to pick 5 that are the best of all time, and as we usually do, 2 honorable mentions, which ones you picking and why?
So I'm going to answer that question, but I want to circle back to actors.
Okay.
So a lot of what I had to say was actors who are deceased. And I don't like Kevin James portraying me because I don't think he's a great actor. Like, I think he's funny. I think he's more of a comedian.
Well, you're a dramedy.
Right. But I don't think that he's a carry the film to a blockbuster type of guy. And I think that he's older than I am, but I think that I don't know. I just don't think he'd be a fit. And when I say this, I realize that this is not a blockbuster actor, but he is kind of a newer actor as far as like some of the up and coming actors go. He's more of a side character right now, but he carried a movie very well called Richard Jewell. His name is Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
I think that he would, looks wise, acting wise, I think he could do it. But anyway,
so you wanted to interrupt the show for your own vein. So that's just like your movie. Good for you. Yes. So five films, B-word. Who you got?
Well, we're going to start with some honorable mentions, right? So we've got so with biopics, I struggle. Okay, I struggle with some because I feel like if you did Straight Outta Compton, like yes, it's a biopic, but it doesn't necessarily center around one character, right? And so that's why I didn't choose something like Goodfellas, which I think would also be a good biopic choice. It would definitely be in a top movie range, but I don't see that as a biopic personally. But I'm going to go with Lincoln. Lincoln was a great biopic. Daniel Day-Lewis, phenomenal actor, arguably one of the best actors to ever have lived, transformed into Abraham Lincoln. He did very, very well in that movie. It didn't make my top 5 because I find 5 films more entertaining than this particular movie, but I love the movie Lincoln, so I don't want to take anything away from it. And my second honorable mention is The Mask, the Rocky Dennis story. And it's because that film I watched when I was a lot younger, and I can still watch it today. And it's an amazing story about Rocky Dennis, who had some sort of facial disformity. I don't know what the disease was called scientifically, but I think it was called Lionitis as a short term. But great film with Sam Elliott and Cher, and the guy who played Rocky Dennis did an amazing job, even with a mask on. So I would go with those two for my honorable mentions.
That's the 4th time you've mentioned that movie on this show.
I love it.
Just saying,
it's one of my favorite movies.
And it's only in your honorable mentions. I've watched it. I've watched it because you told me to watch it because you won't stop fucking talking about it on here. So I watched it because of that. So that's only an honorable mention, and you talk about it this damn much. That confuses me, B-word.
Well, in this particular case, I like 5 movies better, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the movie.
I guess honorable mentions for me would be Vice.
Okay.
About
that's with Jamie Foxx, right?
No. Well,
that was Miami Vice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking Vice about Dick Cheney, and just the transformation there was amazing. So, but it's not a top 5 film, but I enjoyed it. I thought that makes honorable mentions because it's not the most enjoyable movie. Just the transformation of seeing somebody turn into somebody else so well, was awesome. 2 would be Rocket Man.
I've not watched Rocket Man.
Yeah, with Elton John. I thought it was a good portrayal.
I watched Bohemian Rhapsody, which didn't make my list. I really like Bohemian Rhapsody, but Rocket Man came out shortly after that, and I was told that they took it into a more fantastic, like fantasy level thing. Yeah, and that's not my cup of tea. Like I want,
and that's like that's like why it makes my honorable mentions. Yeah,
a movie that is not on my list here, but it came very close to making it was Walk the Line. The Johnny Cash story. Like right. I really like that. It was biopic-esque of what I think of, not Elvis, so.
Yeah. See Rocket Man, it is a little over the top. So I guess that's why it's not going to make, I can watch it. I thought it was a good movie. I can't watch it over and over. That's another thing why it doesn't make the top 5,
Gotcha.
But honorable mention. So let's start from the bottom. Number 5 for you, B-word.
Number 5 is Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge stars. That off my list. Did you really?
I did. I had it and I cut it off. It's a great fucking movie.
It's a great movie. Andrew Garfield plays. I don't remember what the character's name is, but he's a Seventh-day Adventist that is a he doesn't use guns. He's anti-gun because of his religion. And he ends up leading the medical team and saving numerous lives in the battle at Hacksaw Ridge. It's one of the greatest military films, in my opinion, for the looks of it, for the CGI, if there was any, for the storyline. The relationships within it are valuable. I loved Hacksaw Ridge. It's a great film. Makes my number 5 for biopics.
Biopic, yeah, great one.
What's your number 5?
Mine is going to be one that was released on Amazon Prime as a movie, and there is a point I will say about this, and I'm not saying that streaming services don't make their own good films, but it's almost like the new age made for TV, if that makes sense.
Straight to DVD.
But mine is, mine is Aeronauts, about the gas balloons in the 1860s. If you haven't seen it, it's the chick from Rogue One.
Okay.
And then it's Eddie Redmayne. And it's just them in a hot air balloon, like going as high as they possibly can go and as far as they can go to test out like theories for scientific purposes. And I enjoyed the movie. It was one of those ones I was sitting around on a Saturday. I was like, what am I going to watch? Oh, this just came out, put it on. And I really enjoyed it. It's not like the greatest one, but for me, I could watch it a few times and I enjoyed it. I love the actors in it. I also like movies sometimes when it's just a few actors in it, so you can really focus on their character development, especially when you're doing a biopic, that you can see like, oh, wow, like let's develop the person that we're actually fucking talking about instead of having 19 million people around them. And so I'd pick that movie. I really liked it. I thought it was good. So.
Okay. So what's your number 4?
Theory of Everything about Stephen Hawking.
That was a good one.
Here. Like,
That's a good
same
one.
actor too. Same actor as Aeronauts. I thought he did a great fucking job. The funny thing is, you go into that movie and it's a love story. It's supposed to be a romantic movie. It's supposed to be about him falling in love with her and how that goes about. But it's still Stephen Hawking, so you can't separate yourself from the scientific nature of it. Even though the whole time you're going, wow, they're really making the movie about his life, about his love life. Right. And there's a lot of seriousness to it, but I thought the acting in that movie was really well done. And so that's number 4 for me. Who do you got?
It's a good one. My number 4 is going to be The Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Great.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. Obviously, we talked about Scorsese earlier on. I didn't know how Scorsese was going to do with this movie before it came out. I didn't know much about the guy, Jordan, whatever his name was, the main character, prior to the film. Leo nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I'm a huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. There's not much that he does that I don't like. And he just absolutely nailed it. I love the cast, but I like how the cast was enough good characters to not take away from the main character. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's a biopic and was done that well has to make my top 5. So that's my number 4 is The Wolf of Wall Street.
That's a great movie. The one problem I had making this B word, and tell me if I'm wrong, I didn't go for movies that were over the top. And that one feels like, I understand that was their lifestyle and stuff, but there were a lot of parts that felt so accentuated that I couldn't put it on the list. Cause I love that fucking movie. Yeah. But to me, it feels so much Hollywood at times where I'm like, there's no fucking way this is happening.
See, I would say the same thing about like Goodfellas. Like I love Goodfellas, but when Goodfellas is getting all the food delivered in the jail and they're just making it, like a commercial style kitchen in their own private cell, like that just doesn't happen. Right. So, but the reason why I was confidently able to put The Wolf of Wall Street in my top 5 is because I believe it happened just like that. Now, maybe there's a couple things that maybe didn't happen. Maybe they didn't do the midget toss in the beginning or, some things like that. But there's a lot of that stuff that just happened, I imagine, in the exact same way it did, because I have no reason not to believe it that way.
That's a good point.
As grandiose as it is and as weird as it got, I still believe that it happened.
That's a good point. Who's your number 3?
Donnie Brasco.
Really?
So, yeah, Donnie Brasco, Johnny Depp, and Al Pacino. As you know, dude, I love mobster movies. I love I love mysteries, but this one wasn't really a mystery. This was a crime drama, if you will. I love those. Great acting all throughout. And obviously based on a true story of Joe Pistone, who was the FBI agent who cracked the mafia. I think that this is very not only is it good acting, I felt like it was good directing. I felt like it was great cast. I felt like the storyline was there. Obviously, it's a true story. And it kept me entertained all the way through. So Donnie Brasco.
That's a good pick. Mine is with an actor that I really like. I think he gets a lot of hate because he does play the same way a lot, but it's Shattered Glass, which is with Hayden Christensen. I watched this movie in college, and it's about a writer for, I think it's the Washington Post or the New Republic. It was the New Republic magazine, and he made up all these stories. And he pretty much just said, "Oh, this happened." He got caught. He was like, he was winning all these prizes. He was an amazing writer, but he couldn't stop lying and kept getting caught in lies. And just watching Hayden Christensen be a little bitch on screen for 2 hours almost, just cry. It just reminded me of how he prepared to be in Revenge of the Sith. And
Yeah.
But it's a good film, and it's one of those. It almost is, again, made for TV. And I honestly think, like, a lot of these films, like I said, I went for the ones that are very down to earth and like grounded. A lot of them come across that way because they're trying to make it as normal as possible about their lifestyle and not over the top like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff, even though that shit could have happened. But I like the movie. Like I said, I had to watch it in college as a assignment. And I just fell in love with the movie. And I think it was just because watching him, his acting was great. The whole storyline was great. But then also, like, on the DVD, it was one of those ones where there was all the bonus features, and they showed the interviews with the real guy, like the 60-minute special, and all of it, like, that they put in the film was exactly how it happened in real life, which I really enjoyed to see. Like, oh yeah, like he said, like, oh, I went to this hackers convention in this building, and I told like, when they did like vetting and they found out, like, oh, where's your sources and stuff like that, he couldn't prove any of it, and like everything that happened in the movie was actually happening in real life, which was pretty awesome. So
interesting. So my number 2 is Ray, about Ray Charles, starring Jamie Foxx. So Jamie Foxx is literally one of the most, and I'm going to say underrated, not because he's not known. I think the level of his talent is not known. Like, how talented this guy is, whether it be singing, whether it be comedy, acting, rapping. Holy shit, man! This guy's got more talent in his pinky finger than I have in my entire body. The way he transformed into Ray Charles, and the way that you did not notice that he became Ray Charles,
that it wasn't Ray Charles, yeah.
And he did all the songs, and holy shit, man, he was Ray Charles. It was such a beautiful film. I don't know what more I can say about the film. Ray was a great film. It had a wonderful storyline. I think it adequately demonstrated who Ray Charles was. It didn't shy away from any issues. Phenomenal film. Definitely my number 2.
Nice. Mine's a film that I can throw on over and over. Adapted from a book based on a real life thing. And I remember when I was like, I don't know how old, I had to be like 10 or something, that I saw like a special, like, because we've talked about it, where we would watch like Entertainment Tonight or Dateline or Hard Copy or all those shows like late at night with our families. But is Into the Wild, the show about Christopher McCandless, when he hitchhiked to, or Alexander Supertramp as he liked to be called, when he moved to Alaska on his own and hitchhiked across America. And it stars Emil Hirsch, who did a great job, but he goes up and dies in Alaska from eating the wrong potato root and kills himself and starved to death. But watching his adventures, and I mean, it goes against sort of what I was saying. There's a lot of moments that are a little probably over the top, but just a great film of watching somebody who didn't give a shit about the lifestyle that you're supposed to have, right, quote unquote, and follow the path, and just went and did his own fucking thing. And even though he died early and, you know, died doing what he wanted to do too early. Great film. I think Emil Hirsch is a great actor.
He's a great actor.
And I thought when they did that film, I could throw that on, and I'm never unhappy when it's on, if that makes sense. So that's my number 2.
Great film.
Number 1 for me, 4th of July is coming up. Bald Eagle Freedom Party. Let's celebrate America. American Sniper.
Oh,
I could watch this movie
off my list.
I could watch this. I love war films. I love the military. I love fucking America. Proud to say it. Great fucking film, dude.
That is a good film. I didn't even think about that film when I was putting this list together. I'm actually disappointed in myself because that's literally one of my favorite movies. Clint Eastwood did a phenomenal job directing that, by the way. Such a good film. Bradley Cooper transformed his body to look like Chris Kyle as well.
Bradley Cooper transformed everything for that film. Did a great job. And it's one of those things, it's like you hear later that part of the stories might have been lied about and stuff, and I just didn't care. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm still all for it, dude. Like, things could have been fragile in his brain. I don't know, but just a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
I could watch it back to back. I mean, and I know there's a lot of, like I said, war films I love, and there's a lot. Like, I could put Hacksaw Ridge on there, Unbroken on there, Hurt Locker on there, a lot of them. But this was the one, I guess, that I could, if I picked out of all of them that I could throw on over and over again, this is the one.
Man, I'm actually disappointed in my number one pick.
I'm disappointed in yourself right now.
Like, I'm totally disappointed that didn't make my list. I truly didn't think about it because that would have made my top 5 for sure, if not the number one. But I've already got a list here. So my number one, my shitty number one now, is going to be Cinderella Man. I love Cinderella Man. Yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
Never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No.
Seriously?
No,
Oh,
never seen it.
God,
That's
dude,
Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah, such a great film. Such a great film. It's set in the 30s, right after, it starts right before the crash of 29. It goes through into the Depression. It follows a boxer who broke his hand and couldn't fight anymore. Deals with the strife of the Depression, deals with corporate America and their greed, deals with so many things. One of the things that I loved about this character is his morality. I just thought that his morality was very centered. He was just a very kind human that taught his kids great lessons from what the film taught. So yeah, Cinderella Man's definitely number one. Very disappointed I didn't put American Sniper on there, dude. I'm not going to let myself live that one down. That's such a good pick. Such a good pick.
My thing is too, like, there's a lot of fighter films that I like The Fighters, I think is really good, right? But if you were to choose, I'm going to end on this, B-word. If you were to choose, because we went through biopics, however we want to fucking say it, a war movie or a fighter movie?
War movie.
Really?
100%. Yeah. Because I look at movies, like, people will probably have Ali on their list, like best biopics. I hated Ali. I thought it was stupid. It just wasn't good. But I think that with biopics, there's a lot of downtime. With biopics, there's a lot of opportunity to have the storyline go slow. And I think with war movies, while you could still do that, there's a lot of opportunity to beef it up with action that can still entertain the crowd.
Well, it's action that's real, right? Like, you can have a bomb go back and you believe it. You can Michael Bay that shit. You can Michael Bay it, B-word, but you can't Michael Bay a fighter film.
That's right. But you could also who's the guy? Zemeckis, Bob Zemeckis. Rob Zemeckis, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that when a bullet comes out and something bit me right in my buttocks, like, yeah, just
something bit me in the butt.
Amazing. Yep. I love it, dude. I love it.
That's amazing.
Well, good list, man. Good talk tonight. And with that, what do you got for us?
Thanks for all the dirty talk. Come back and get sanitized.
This is Jake from the Bleach Bros podcast, and thank you for listening to today's episode. I want to bring to your attention our Linktree. Visit Linktree/Bleach Bros podcast for access to all of our socials, merch, and streaming sites. Linktree is linktr.ee/Bleach Bros podcast, all one word. And if you enjoy our content, make sure to give us a like, give us a review on whatever platform you are listening on, and also invite your friends. If you're a fan of our show, be sure to check out this one to stay sanitized.
Have you ever thought about having a beer with Ted Bundy?
Or been anally probed at Area 51?
Perhaps go to dinner with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Taking a car ride with JFK?
Or enter a romantic relationship with O.J. Simpson? If so, then crack a cold one.
The Pub Time Podcast just might be for you.